Welcome to DC2B Revolution, helping chiropractic students think big in order to live large. I'm your host, Noah Volz, and today I'm here with Dr. Crystal Jones. She's based in Atlanta, Georgia, where she has been in practice since 2014. She's fluent in chiropractic and many Eastern healing modalities, and she has an intentional focus on transformation in her work. She's also a speaker and founder of the Healers Collective, a corporate wellness production company. Dr. Crystal Jones, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So, part of the reason I'm having you on the show today is because the Artful Convention is coming to the Bay Area, which is where I live and go to school. Can you talk a little bit about what you'll be presenting on at the Artful Convention in January 2018?
So at this convention, I'll be presenting a lot about mindfulness and how mindfulness as a chiropractor and intentionality as a chiropractor can actually allow people to connect with someone and give them what they're asking for rather than a prescriptive box that sometimes doesn't really get people where they're trying to go. A lot of people have been asking me lately about how I move through destructive cycles with people and how it goes a little bit deeper. So while a lot of the art will be there for people to learn how to adjust, I will be doing a little more of how you can actually get centered and actually hear what people are saying, not necessarily with just their words, but with their actions, with their thoughts, and how it can become a healing process between the two of you guys, not just one way, so that you are able to keep your energy.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to bring more presence and more intentionality to the work that they're doing? In looking over your resources, I had the impression that you work with, high risk individuals, that you work with marginalized populations. Can you talk a little bit about that work and where presence and that kind of depth of connection enters into that work?
So a lot of my clients it could be considered pretty fragile, but a lot of people through referrals, there are people who are like dealing with suicidal thoughts or a lot of deep emotional trauma. The chiropractic work for me, my understanding of it is it allows the interference to be removed from old truths and old behaviors and old experiences that brought someone to a specific point. And so it's very important that when I introduce myself to someone or somebody comes to me, that I ask them who they are and what is it that they're looking for, so that they already begin to own their power. A lot of these people that I work with, they feel like they've lost their power. They feel like they've lost their choice. And so I, as a chiropractor, I choose not to take away their power in the process. And it's not right or wrong. It's just a lot of times they were coming to me to fix them, when in reality, a lot of them wanted to own their power again and start making decisions to see a chiropractor rather than coming to a chiropractor because this was my last hope. This is like, you have the answer. No, actually, they have the answer. And so I start off the conversation asking them who they are and what are they looking for. Then we start moving through destructive cycles, and I see why their spine is aligned the way it is, why it's actually in space functioning the way that it's functioning. And from there, we decide where they're going to move to, what truths they're going to start aligning to. And when we get to those new truths, their body starts to align itself. And if there are any interferences within that space, that's when I come in and remove those interferences, subluxations, and move forward.
That sounds remarkable, very, very unique and very deep. Is that, what you just described there, is that pretty typical of a session that you would do where there is a dialogue, or where we're using the chiropractic techniques to, release the areas of the body that are held? Are there other ways that you kind of help a person navigate through the challenges that they're experiencing that you could lend to students who may want to work with these, more fragile populations?
So typically it is. because before chiropractic, I was working in the healing space. After chiropractic, I've still been working in the healing space. So a lot of times I am meeting someone and I'm learning what language they speak. So some of them may not be able to, especially if it's a domestic violence case. They may not. The last time somebody's hands was on them, it was a really bad situation. And so there are a lot of other techniques that I have been very fluent in for a very long time that allow me to build that trust with people and then move in and move on the physical plane, because a lot of things I have to start on the spiritual space, emotional space, biochemical, and then I can get down to the physical, just because everybody's not willing and able to accept, and I don't want to fight. So what would I say that could be very helpful? And the reason why I'm speaking at the Artful Convention, listen to what somebody's actually asking you for. That is the most important thing that I could ever offer to anyone, is actually listen to what someone's asking for. Don't have an idea of what you're going to do for them when they've never even told you hello or anything like that. I think that allows for a better flow of communication, better trust, and it allows the person to accept the adjustment. There's nothing profitable about giving someone a gift that they cannot receive because it's not in a language they understand. That is what I'll be talking about. That is what I'm a big proponent of, and that's where I see a lot of students may go left. It's that they've been so stuck in the book, which is not a bad thing, but they've tuned out listening. They've turned on their own knowledge, and they're serving from only their brain, not necessarily their heart. And that maybe their atlas probably needs to be adjusted so that the heart and the mind can actually continue to speak together fluently and listen, and be present and dynamic with the person. So listen, dynamic. Those are always my techniques. Just listening, dynamic, and then in chiropractic school, excel. Be your best at all times. Do your best so that now the language of chiropractic is in your heart, not necessarily in your brain, so that you're able to just be fluid with it.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me and also the other chiropractic students that we're multidimensional beings. We as chiropractic students, we're so focused on the physical body and focused on understanding the physical body. But I really love how you brought it back to the idea that the person who's coming in your door has so many aspects to them. And it sounds like what you're doing is figuring out the tools that you have and looking at the person and figuring out which of your tools will really help that person. And, at least what I notice being in school and being in clinic is I usually try and match that person to the tool that I'm the best at, as opposed to finding a tool that will actually assist them. Did you ever find yourself in that space? And how did you transition out of that space if you did find yourself there?
Not necessarily that space. I will say when I graduated and when a lot of things began for me, I wanted to fix the person. I wanted someone to come in and I wanted them to get off the table, and I wanted nothing ever to be wrong with them again. Wrong as in not understanding that the healing process is eternal, and not understanding our chiropractic principle that there's no process that doesn't require time. And so I was stepping in as that tool to do whatever it took to make sure they no longer presented the way that they were presenting, without even giving their body and their innate intelligence the honor that it deserved, allowing it to heal. Because I came into school with a lot of more Eastern methodalities and modalities. It was tougher for me actually to find something on someone like we do in school when we're like setting up, that wasn't there. Like my hands just wouldn't go there because the way energy was flowing, it would always move out, and my hands would just move into the way their body was asking me to go. So I had to train my mind actually to be academic and do what was being asked of me, and then realize that, also like clear the energy of the person, understand that this person is their intention is not to be adjusted right now. They're here because this is how we learn. And then I had to turn that back on, where being fluid has always been my thing, where maybe if I don't speak the language of the person, I learn the language of the person instead of like having them understand mine. But my difficulty more, like I said, was setting up on things that didn't need to be set up on. And so that for so long in school. And so, but I got it through my head, and I shifted my perspective, and I understood exactly why I was doing what I was doing. And I also like cleared the intention that anything was going to happen to, the person on the table.
Yeah, I can't help but think that, this authenticity, this ability that you cultivated early in life before you even came to chiropractic school, is, a very big part of now what you're able to offer to other people. Like your excuse me, your ability to kind of tune into your own soul's song then gave you this gift to be able to really, like you said, become fluent, to hear the song of other people and to be able to help that express itself through the chiropractic principles. Am I hearing you correctly?
Yeah, that was really helpful. It was helpful for me, but it presented as a challenge because, when you're in formal education, that's not necessarily how it shows up on paper. That's not how it shows up when you have a practical or boards or anything like that. So it presented itself as a challenge until I began to connect back closer to the why, like why I went through this process to get where I am today. So I think it's really important for students to understand themselves first. And I tell people often, or I ask students, so why are you putting your hands on people? Because out here, I want to help people. I want to clear the interference, which is a beautiful thing, but there has to be a deeper reason of what happens when you put your hands on someone. And at that point, you start to be very fluent in making that happen at all times. Because if you put your hands on someone to relieve a headache, but the headache isn't the primary source of subluxation, then your intention is not going to actually get to the source of what you're trying to do. So what is it that you do every single time you breathe, you put your hands on people? And that really allows me, it may not allow others, but it allows me to really connect and listen, because I'm not in my head trying to figure out what to do. When we're done with anything that's off of the table, that person and I start to become in this sacred dance of healing. And that's all that it is. It's complete channeling. And a lot of times I don't remember it because it's not me, it's what works through me.
Yeah, that's remarkable. And part of what I really heard you say in that is in working so hard while you were in school to understand the physical body, to do all the brain mind stuff and really have that integrated so completely, it allowed you to get out of your head so you could actually get into your heart and be, fully able to channel, to allow the process to unfold in the way that's going to support that individual the most. That's a really remarkable skill. And of course, we're all in school. And so kind of what I'm hearing from you is, focus hard on all the brain stuff while you're in school. And then through that, you can start to develop that more intuitive sense. Would you say that was true for you to some extent?
I often tell students that are pushing through school, because what I see sometimes is they push through school so hard that when they graduate, that day after they graduate, they have no idea what to do with themselves because they've not developed the intuition. I think they should be developed simultaneously. And intuition starts when you're an infant, and however you believe, past lives, whatever it is. But your intuition has always been there. It's really tuning in. And while you're in school, when I say excel, I don't mean 4.0. For me, that's what I used to think was excelling, so that's what I did. However, excelling means do your best. I'm pretty sure you've heard of the 4 agreements, like always do your best. I think that's what's important, because what resonates will. What doesn't need to resonate, it won't. And I have, you know, beautiful testimonials, all of these different things about all the things that have come through me. However, there are some things that I have not, I haven't mastered every single thing because some things haven't resonated with me yet. And I think in school, for you to allow yourself to do your best and allow what resonates to resonate and do that and master that fully and allow other things to come along. Because once you're in, you have continuing education for the rest of your life. Commencement means the beginning. Like, you're just beginning when you graduate. So allow yourself to always be doing both. When something doesn't feel right, don't go into it. You know, not when it's hard, but when it doesn't feel right, don't go into it. Maybe it'll be revealed at a later time, but always do your best. Always do your best on your tests. They're there to support you. They're not there to show you how much you don't know. They're there to support you. And so the more you have a relationship with the testing and the practicals and everything that you have to do, you can allow your intuition to allow those grades to show the school, the national board, that you know what you're here for and what you're doing. And it takes that pressure off.
Yeah, that I feel like you were speaking directly to me because I feel like I'm so in that space right now where I've been pushing so hard for so long just to, you know, get the next grade, just to be exposed to the latest technique and kind of like losing some of myself in that constant drive and that constant push and in that constant ambition. And so really consciously taking a step back and instead of always being pushing, allowing things to come to me when they're ready to come to me, and more of a listening and taking more of a receptive space instead of this more active, aggressive space. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
I say that works for me, and I'll try to be very clear that there are some people who are wired very differently. So if that's what works for you, I definitely recommend it, but you always have to have balance. I tend to attract more than target, but some people, their personality is very, it's more conquering than surrendering, because surrendering seems like you're giving up instead of allowing. You know, it just depends on how you're wired and how you navigate through life, because I believe the way everything and everybody, they're all very necessary in the way that they learn. But for me, because people ask, you know, well, how did you do it? That's what worked for me. um, it's I've talked about it often, but I had a condition, a viral myocarditis, that actually took, it was 13th quarter, 12th quarter, and I tried to take 2 quarters at one time, and I needed to peak outside of Georgia. And what else was happening? I was taking boards, part 4 boards. I was taking OSCE. I was doing all of this in like 1 quarter, because for me, it was all about achieving. That was the perfectionist side of me. And at that point, I had to learn how to walk and breathe again on my own. So I did all of this to hustle, to be like the top of everything. And I literally had a breathing machine take me to take my IRAT the next Monday morning, because it was like, I just had to prove that I could do this. And so for me, my story is very personal, because life showed me it's not always about conquering. It's about surrendering. And that first test that I took after being in the hospital was the highest grade that I had ever made. You know, and I don't say, you know, never try, because I always say, try your best, do your best. I will say, but that conquering thing, it proved detrimental to me. And that's why I take more of a allowing and surrendering approach to everything, and how I deal with people and how people cross my path for healing work. It's more of allowing, because I lived my life very, very, very type A, very perfectionist. So that's why I say that.
Yeah, thank you for that alternate perspective, because I feel like there is somewhat of a cultural imperative in the United States of conquering. I think that it could easily be said that the people who are currently in power got in power by conquering, you know, the lands, the peoples, whatever it may be. And so there's this imperative there that that's the way to be successful. And so I really appreciate that your experience led you to this alternative path of quote unquote success, so that you could really express your unique gifts to the world, which I feel like is what you're doing, and is what's so unique about the specific offerings that you offer. So I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the work that you're doing in terms of your clinic, but also in terms of the kind of corporate wellness programs that you've launched recently.
Okay, so I actually travel to all of my clients, depending on if they're asking for chiropractic work or if they're asking for advisement. So if it's advisement, I travel around the world. I spend between 7 hours and 3 days with people, just really digging deep and going in with them. And then once we've elevated to the new truths that they desire to live by delving into those shadows and turning them into light, at that point we start to add in chiropractic. We start to do that because I can't have them starting to come to be like, fix it. I need them to see their body shift. And so I do that through yoga. I do that through meditation. I do that through chiropractic. I do that through so many different channels depending on the person. And my practice has evolved because I began working on entertainment tours. And so I would travel with my clients as they were getting on stage. I would work with the entire backstage people, and then I work with them before they got on stage, because that was the first time they ever got treated like a human. And so I started to take that work very seriously. And then I had 2 offices, one in New York and one in Atlanta. So I went back into that like grind spirit of, I can do this. I was in practice every other week in every other state. And then once again, I got sick again. And I stayed stationary in Atlanta for a year. And it was great. Practice quadrupled. Like, so much happened. Like, that's when Best of Atlanta happened. Like, there was so much that happened staying stationary. And then now, like, being grounded so much at this point, I'm ready to fly again, which is why I'm in LA right now. Ready to fly again and continue to be the light, continue to elevate the narrative and the paradigm of healing that that currently exists, because it's not the easiest work, especially when I feel like sometimes I go against what many people I respect are saying. But I just choose to be it rather than argue, because I don't believe that they're wrong. I believe I was created to change that paradigm. And then with the Healers Collective, my partner, his name is Kevin Kinney, he actually just graduated in September of 2017. So he just graduated. And so we're business partners, and we created a wellness production company because we wanted to elevate the narrative of wellness, and we wanted to, with both of our backgrounds being in having entertainment, mine being more corporate, we wanted to push wellness in once again languages that people understood. And so we travel around the world doing event activations. We consult with corporations, entertainment, whoever. We curate, and then we execute wellness, complete wellness, whether that's aromatherapy or sound healers as DJs, or yoga or chiropractic on tours. We really open that space, because what happens in the corporate space and in the entertainment space, it's all about the visual, and the human gets left behind. And for me, with my work, I work with the people who got left behind because of their character. And so it's more preventative. In order for people to actually be treated like human through their entire career, I decided I would create a platform that gave students and teachers the opportunity to do what they wanted to do. Many people have never, adjusted on a tour. So I wanted to give that opportunity. And as well, I really wanted to see something besides makeup and hair and wardrobe happening behind stage. I wanted people getting adjusted. I wanted people drinking juice backstage instead of like Coca-Cola. I wanted to at least present options. And that was my passion. And that's what I did. And now that's the Healers Collective.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, goodness, crazy. Let's see. Okay, that's better. So, Yeah, I know that students are going to be inspired about what you're doing, and they're going to want to assist you in elevating the healing narrative, and also, you know, like you said, possibly, you know, supporting the work that you're doing in the entertainment industry. What's the best place for students to learn more about what you're doing and to connect with you?
So my website is www.healwithcrystal.com, and that's Crystal. And so on Instagram, I'm Heal with Crystal, and you can email me at connect@healwithcrystal. I love mentoring. I have about 13 at this point, so I'm developing a program, but I really am excited about the convention because it gives me that opportunity to be face to face with these students who may feel like they have another calling but just don't know how to communicate that. So healwithcrystal.com, Heal with Crystal on Instagram, and Facebook is just Crystal Jones, or Dr. Crystal Jones is my what they call it, fan page or something. My business page, that's what it is.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate your unique approach and your ability to be, you know, brave and to create something new and to innovate and to, you know, hold that why so close to your heart that you're willing to do things that may not be popular. So thank you so much for being a part of this project.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Hope to meet you in January. Well, 6 months.
Yeah, I would love that. So this has been a production of DC2B Revolution, helping chiropractic students think big to live large. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel, leave some comments in the comment section below, spread the word, share it with a friend, and I'll see you next time.